Hi guys, I wanted to do a quick video for you guys today that talks about really being able to stay focused and stay on track. And I know that many of you, I've got some questions in the past week that have come in with, entrepreneurs who are just feeling really burnt out. They're kind of feeling sidetracked. And they're asking, Anne, how can I stay productive? How can I stay on track with my goals? And how can I really stay focused when we live in this virtual world that is so full of distractions? And there's so many things that need to be done every day that, I'm finding myself getting lost in email. I'm finding myself getting lost in social media. I'm finding myself getting lost, answering other people's problems, or some, are getting lost with and off track with managing their team. If you have a team, that might resonate with you, seems like it's taken up a lot of your time. And so I wanted to share with you guys, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget any, but I wanted to share 5 steps with you guys today that I use to stay focused, stay on track, and just really make sure that I am working towards my final goal, whatever that outcome or goal is for you, that I am working towards that every single day. So every day and everything that you do is going to be really, really important that you're looking at that and that you're saying that you can answer a yes, that is in fact leading you towards that final goal and that final outcome. Now, if you're familiar with Suzanne Evans or David Nagel, you will know that they say that the way we do anything is the way we do everything, right? So some of these tips are going to be really important for you to stay focused and stay on track. And really, ultimately, what these steps are going to help you do is just create a new habit. And honestly, that's kind of what we have, right? These are just habits. It's habit forming for us to get sidetracked and distracted. And sometimes we create that space because we're avoiding something or we're resisting something. And so sometimes, where you get that feeling where you're like, I really don't want to do that. I'm just going to wait till tomorrow. Or, you know what? I accomplished a lot of other things today. I just don't have time for that. That one thing is usually what you should be doing, right? It's usually what needs our focus most. And that's probably the task that should have got done first thing in the morning before anything else. So tip number 1 is going to be for you, or step number 1 is going to be for you to decide what is important and what is urgent. And honestly, the difference between these two is pretty simple. The difference is something important for you, right, might be something along the lines of doing your videos, or nurturing your list, or creating new content, or things like that, things that are really important to you in your business. So if you can sit back and say, not what's urgent, but what is important to me in my business. So for me, it's doing these videos. It's being creative and making sure that I'm really doing my market research and I'm creating new content that is going to resonate with you, that is going to provide you value and actionable steps. So creating the videos and the new content, constantly creating content, and really just nurturing my people, my audience, and those are things that are important to me, and those are things that I love to do in my business. And so if I wasn't doing them, I wouldn't really feel fulfilled. So those are important things. The urgent things are blog posts, newsletters, social media, things like that. They're urgent, they need to be done, right? However, they usually are distractions. Those are usually what we can get sucked into, answering emails and responding back and forth to people, watching, other people's videos or their blog posts, or, really just getting kind of lost in other people's stuff. Those can sometimes be urgent things, like we do need to get our newsletter out. We do need to get our blog posts out. We do need to be engaging and be building a presence on social media. But that's more urgent, right? So here's the thing. Urgent stuff is always going to get done. You'll always do it because it has to be done. It's urgent. But the important stuff are those things that are going to get pushed kind of behind the scenes, right? And those are going to be pushed out to later and procrastinated, even though they're important. So the important stuff needs to get done first in your day. And then you can go to your emails, and then you can go to your social media, and then you can go to get in the blog posts and the newsletter and all of those things, right? So that's going to be step number one. So step number two is going to be to create an urgency. So I'm pretty big about this, right? Because I've spent probably over half of the 14 years that I've been in business kind of stuck, spinning my wheels, stuck, overwhelmed, confused, and feeling like I'm working my freaking ass off, but I'm not getting anywhere. So I'm not seeing momentum, right? And I'm working really hard. And so a lot of the times what happens is we don't have a sense of urgency. So if there's not an urgency, we procrastinate. It's the nature of how we operate, right? It's what we were kind of trained to do. So essentially what happens is we create these things in our mind of, I can get that done later. I can, that can be done anytime. I'll do that later. And what we do is we just push it out, and we push it out, and we push it out, and we push it out, even though it's really important. Like, for example, sales calls or discovery calls, booking those calls. So booking sessions on your calendar and having those sales calls and those conversations, those are really, really important and urgent, right? Those are absolutely should be at the top of your list. And I mean, without them, you do not have a business, right? You have no money, you have no business. And so the important thing is going to be to create that urgency. And so what you'll want to do is just get the clarity around, what are your goals? You need to know what your goals are so that you can kind of work towards that, and you can create an urgency to get stuff done. Because if we don't have that, if you don't have a date set, or if you don't have the urgency to get something done, the fact of the matter is you're going to procrastinate. So you want to create an urgency. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I've been practicing it and I've been doing it for a while. And, I really have found, for me and a lot of other people and leaders in the industry, that in order to be successful, you absolutely need to be always moving towards your final goal. And so you need to know what that goal is so that you can create tasks and timelines and dates that are going to lead you to that, so you can be productive every single day with everything that you do. And everything that you do should be leading towards that goal, and that should be urgency, right? So you need to create an urgency. If you're sort of just getting up and saying, well, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Am I going to do a blog post? Or, I haven't emailed or reached out to anybody in a few months. Maybe I'll send a newsletter. Maybe I'll write a blog post, or maybe I'll update my website and add a new opt-in or a new freebie or this or that. If you're sort of just flying by the seat of your pants and you don't really have an outcome, like a final destination, like what is the goal? What is the purpose of your being? What is that final outcome? If you don't have that, you're flying by the seat of your pants every day, and there's no real urgency there to do anything, because you don't see what's coming up ahead, because you haven't mapped that out. You haven't got that clarity. So it's important to know where you're working towards, especially if you have a team. But in any sense, you want to know what you're working towards so that you can create the urgency to get that outcome, right? So get clear on why am I doing this? Why am I, offering this program? Why am I doing this work? Why am I working with these clients? So what are the whys behind everything you do? Like, so for example, real quickly, a couple of mine were I wanted to buy a home because the place we were living in was very poverty. It was it was full of criminals and drug activity and things like that. I didn't want my kids around. Not a good school district, really, really bad neighborhood. We were in debt, really bad, and I was sick and tired of saying, I can have this or I can have that. I wanted to say, I can have this and I can have that. So in order to do those things, I had to have a goal, and I had to have really clear and purposeful whys behind all those goals so that there was an urgency. Right? So I wanted to also provide a space where I could take care of my mother, who is getting older and she just can't do some things on her own. And that was really important to me. That was an urgency. So I had really good, purposeful, clear whys behind everything I wanted to do. And I had a path. I I mapped out my 90 days. I mapped out and took a glimpse into the next year, 2 years, and 3 years. And I have really clear goals, so I know what I'm working towards. And those can change as you go, but at least have an idea of what you're working towards so you can create urgencies along the way to keep you moving and keep you on track. So let's go on to step number 3. This is one I love because I'm really big on journaling. I love to write, so I can just write and write and write, and things just flow really naturally for me. So part of what I do is every night, and I got this from Brendon Burchard, every night before I go to bed, I journal anyway. And so part of what I journal now is I write first, I journal, I write whatever's coming to my mind, whatever questions I have for my God or my universe or for myself or for other people. I let go, I acknowledge, accept, release, and let go of any things that I'm kind of struggling with or have going on, or if I want to forgive other people or things like that. I do all of my journal stuff first. And then at the end, I write 3 to 6 things. I write down 3 to 6 things that I absolutely have to get done tomorrow. And then Brendon Burchard says, you don't go to bed the next day until those are done. And so I get really clear. And I like to journal at night because I feel like I've ended my day, I can relax, I can really tap into just how I'm feeling and how my day went. And for me, I shower and then I light a candle and I sit in my bed with a hot cup of coffee or tea and I journal. And so my best things come to me between the shower and that time. And so my journaling goes really good and I'm really motivated for the next day. And so I'm not just randomly writing down what I need to get done tomorrow. I'm really getting purposeful and clear. And so I'll do that. And then the next day I pull out my journal and I see what those things are and I start going down my list. So 3 to 6 things. And I don't go to bed till they're checked off in my journal and say done. I put a check and I say done. Done, 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 and I do that. And that has really helped me because I've been woken up in the middle of the night before with ideas and things that I know I need to get done, and I'm too tired to grab my calendar and put it in. And so then what happens is I lose sleep, I get distracted in the middle of times that I should be resting, and then I forget the next day, what was that thing? So that's a great way to release and get things out on paper for yourself and reflect. And you should do that in your best times, when you're most centered and creative. It can really not have to push things. You don't want to force these things. Like, you don't want to sit there and say, what do I have to do? What do I have to do tomorrow? And really force it. You really want to get centered and have these things flow very naturally for you. So if that time is in the shower, then, take your shower and have a recorder going and record these things. That's another way to do it. Or you can have a notepad and pen right beside the shower if you can, just open the curtain and kind of write it down. Or again, just have a recorder going and just record your thoughts and speak out loud if you can do that. Whenever that's best for you. And so one little hint too, on that list of 3 to 6 things, one of those things should be something done for you. Right? Something for you. So I usually do something that's more around self-care because I feel like we get lost in our busy days and we forget to do those things. So I'll think about something that, it's a massage, or if I want to go get a facial done, or my nails, or a pedicure, or if I just want to go to dinner with somebody, like a friend, or my husband, or, something like that, or something that is just going to really put me in a good place and kind of fill any voids and lift my vibration. So something there should be self-care. Maybe it's just a bubble bath and a glass of wine to just kind of unwind from the day. Whatever that is for you, there should be one thing on that list that's not really work-related, that's for you more of a personal thing or a self-care thing. And then step 4 is going to be create processes and timelines. Coming, as you know, from being a multi-VA business owner for the past 14 years, one of the things I had to do every single day, not just for me, but for all of my clients, so hundreds of clients, is we had to create timelines. So we had to take their 90-day visions and we had to break those down into 30-day actionable tasks. So every day, every week, every month for the next 90 days, we know exactly what is happening, who's doing it, when it needs to be done, and everything is all mapped out to reach that final outcome. And we like to do these in, 90-day chunks, monthly chunks, because things change, things come up, nothing ever goes as planned. So we like to leave some flexibility. but for the most part, we're all working towards the same goal. So when you have these timelines and these processes, it kind of you put in a date on things, and then you're putting that out to your team and to yourself and to others, which now really makes you accountable and responsible to make sure you do those things and follow through. And if you're given any of that responsibility to other people, they now have a deadline that you need that done. So things progressively move forward and get done. And those are really helpful. I mean, we've been doing those. I still do them, even though I don't have my VA business. I still do my intensives with my clients, which is where we map out your 90 days in great detail. And we create 3 months worth of timelines. And so that's a done-for-you service, right? You just turn around and give it to your team. So I'm still doing that work, and I do that for myself too, because I need to stay on track, and I need to be really purposeful in what I'm creating and what I'm putting out there. And if it's not really something that's, from the soul, I'm not going to follow through. I'm going to procrastinate, and it's just not going to get done. And then step 5 is work in your genius environment. And do things in a natural way, right? So sometimes I get my best energy first thing in the morning when I drop my kids off from school. I go grab my coffee at Dunkin' Donuts usually, and I go for a ride and I blare my hip hop and R&B music. So I am from Maine, but I don't do country. I do hip hop, I do R&B, I like to jam out, I like to get high vibration going, I like to get my energy just through the roof. And I love to feel a little bit of a rush. It gets me totally in my zone. So I will usually drop my kids, or after they get on the bus, if I'm not giving them a ride, I'll go get my coffee, and I will blare the radio, and I will drive until my momentum and energy is like, whew, through the roof. And then I'll tone that down, and I'll do a video, I'll write a blog, I will journal, I will be creative and write down some notes of something that I'm thinking, maybe a program or a new way that I could work with people. Like, I love doing masterminds, so maybe I could think of a new mastermind program that we could kind of get together in a group setting and really, really just totally empower each other and take our business to the next level. Maybe it's a new coaching offer that I have one-on-one. Maybe it's something new I could add to my 90-day intensive planning where we map out the 90 days, but then maybe there's something special I could throw in there too. And then, of course, there's always things I'm thinking about around team building and really helping business owners, build teams that are really going to be their dream team, that are going to support their long-term goals. And so mornings are my best time. And then at night I unwind and I'm able to journal. I'm not as creative at night. I'm more I'm more inside myself. Like, I'm very internal. My intuition is very strong at that time. I'm able to think about goals and what I want to see happen and what I need to do more of and less of. I'm able to do that. So journaling and kind of toning it down at night works well for me. But if I'm going to do videos, or if I'm going to do content creation or be really creative, I need to boost my energy, and I can't do that in my house. So usually it's an outside environment where I will go for a ride, or I'll go down and drive down to Old Orchard Beach here in Maine, and I'll go sit by the pier or right on the beach or something, a place that's just serene and just really, really allows me to be creative. So remember, you don't want to force this stuff. If you have to force these things, you're just not going to be productive, and you're going to procrastinate, and you're not going to be able to stay focused and on track. So you want to do things in a way that it works for you. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. Do what works for you. If that's video, if it's preview calls, which you guys know I love to do. I could be on the phone all day long and train and educate and teach, and I love Q&As. Like, I love to do things on the phone, but I love doing webinars and I love doing videos, but I'm probably more my genius around doing preview calls and things like that, in webinars where I'm really teaching, because I love to teach so that you can take action. And so you got to do what works for you, or it won't get done. So there is no right or wrong. It's whatever works for you, So I hope that these tips helped you, and you can absolutely tell me below if you have some takeaways, if you have some stuff to add, if you have something that you could share with us that you do that helps keep you on track and focused. I'm sure everybody would love to hear that. We could never get too much of this information. And until next time, I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.